All right, hello. We're going to start here in a minute. Good day to you. It's almost 2 o'clock, so we're going to start here in a second. $1:59, people. T minus something. I'm just going to look creepily into the camera until we start. I do not work for LastPass or Bob Evans. Just wearing some clothes. All right, let's do this, son. Welcome to the Masterclass Week 4. In this class, we're going to talk about production, which is basically finishing off your song and putting a little cherry on top and making it sound squeaky good, squeaky clean, and loud enough and in your face enough and full enough. And then we're going to talk about some promotion techniques, which I think you might find interesting because they're different than what I'm sure you've heard in the past. Let's do it. Before we go over to the screen, let me explain a little bit about production and finishing off your song. No, change my mind. Let's go over to the screen. It's easier to show you. All right. So in the last few videos, we worked on making songs, right? And now we have songs in Studio One. This is one of the ones we made, I think, when I was teaching how to plug a guitar in and play real instruments into the DAW. So this is what this song sounds like. Okay, say that is our song. It's got all the tracks in there, and that's our finished song, and we want to get that now out of the DAW and like upload it to the internet for the world to listen to. Well, there's two things that usually happen before you upload it to the internet. To get your song and all your tracks out of your DAW, what you need to do is you got to mix them all down so they sound good together and they're at the right volumes. And once they're all sound good together at the right volumes, you use an option in Studio One to basically, it's called mix down. And then, and professionally, most professionals will then take that final file and send it off to a person who does what's called mastering on it, which is really the final stage where somebody basically looks at it with a magnifying glass of ears in their ears, if you could imagine that, and just does the little extra dressing and tuning and EQing to make it sound like radio ready and to make it at the proper levels that these services that you're going to be uploading to like it. So there's mixing first, mastering second, and then distributing it, uploading to different places. So let's start with mixing, because that's the first thing that happens after we have our song created. We want to mix it all so everything sounds good together, and then we're going to mix it down and out of the DAW. So let's do that first. Here's all the tracks playing together. Let's make sure they're all at the volumes that we want. I think the drums can be louder, so I'm going to bump up the volume of the drums. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm happy with that. All the levels are set. It sounds good to my ears, okay? So that's all these tracks over here. All these tracks sound good. Let's come over now to this main here, down here. This is the master bus. This is where everything ends up. So whatever you're seeing on this meter when I'm playing it is all the instruments mixed together. Now, professionals will take effects and put them on this mixing bus, this final, and all a bus is basically like a channel to record in. It's called a bus. I don't know like exactly the Latin root it came from or how it came to be called a bus, but whenever you hear bus, it's basically like where all the sound is ending up with in the final mix. A channel of audio is called a bus. So it's all going into this final bus. Try not to get like the yellow school bus image in your head when we talk about this, but if you can, that's cool if you want. So you can put some mix effects like a console shaper into this channel to take all these tracks and kind of make them all sound better together. You see, a console is, and the reason this is called, I'm like stuttering. The reason this is called a console shaper is because a recording console is one of these guys, these mamas. This is a console. These things. These are what big studios have. And what a lot of people try to do when they're recording on their computer is to get the music that's on their computer to sound as good as if it's going through one of these consoles. So there's all kinds of tricks to do that. And what people are basically doing now are making these little effects to emulate what that console sound is. So yours sounds like it went through one of those giant mixing boards. Now, what do those giant mixing boards sound like? Why are they better than a computer? You know, some people say they have more of a natural or softer, or they just mix everything together. They have a sound of their own. And people, especially old school mixing guys, they want that sound in their computer. And they can't get it without having that giant board. So there's little effects like a console shaper, which will shape your sound to sound like a console. So let's hear how it sounds with the console shaper on. That's on. Here's off. Here's on. Now, what it sounds like, and these differences are very, very like minute, by the way. But what it sounds like to me is it just gave it a more natural, softer sound, a more, I guess, analog, you could say, warmer sound. It warmed it up a little bit. So I'm going to keep that on there. And that's on my mixing bus, my final main bus here on the end. And then you could put whatever other effects you want in here that you think might help your mixing, like an EQ. If we put a Pro EQ on there, maybe I want the treble of the whole mix to be higher. So I'm going to hit play and I'm going to raise the treble. That's way too much, but I'll bring it down. Or maybe I'll use this blue one. Raise. Okay. I don't think it needs much, but you can. You could put an EQ on the final bus of the entire song and do whatever you want with it. Take all the bass out if you want. Take all the mids out. Take all the treble out. Or do the opposite. Okay, so that's what you could do in this section here. You could put effects on the final mixing out of the software. Now, what I'd encourage you to do is not click this plus and add an effect. Click the arrow next to it and go to mixing and try some of these presets that are in here to make it sound better. For example, under mixing, maybe we do fat channel. Now look, it automatically added all these effects. Let's see if it makes it sound better. That's with them on. That's with them off. honestly, for all the effects that are in there, it didn't sound much different. So let's remove them all. And let's try maybe a different one under mixing. How about Airbus? I have no idea what that's going to sound like, but let's check it out. All right, it sounded a little different. Whether it's better or not, I don't know. Well, anyway, I don't really like to mess with the final bus too much because honestly, it's not my area of expertise. I actually don't know the best way, like what kind of compressors and EQ I should do to my mix down. I just kind of do it to it sounds kind of good to me. Now, what I do like to do is put what's called a limiter at the very end of the whole chain under this one called post. Because post is the final stop. It's like the last post before the sound leaves the software. So if you're going to do something at the end and you want something at the very end of the chain, the last effect, you want to put that in the post section because that happens at the very, very, very end. And what a limiter does is basically put a brick wall on the top of your sound so you don't go into the red and distort. Like, here, I'm going to turn the limiter off, and I'm going to turn the volume of this up. It's going to sound very distorted, and that's basically what the limiter is there to stop. So I turn the limiter off. I'm going to turn this one up as I'm playing it, and you're going to hear distortion. All right, did you hear the distortion in that? And you could see it went up to 253, which is super high. Basically, red is bad. It's telling you lower the volume. So I'm going to put this back. I'm going to turn the limiter on, and then I'm going to raise this again, and you'll see it does not go into the red now because the limiter is literally a brick wall on the top of your sound. So check it out. I'm going to raise the volume now. See? The limiter is pushing it down every time it tries to go too loud. And you can see the limiter working if you click on it. See that yellow bar? Every time you see that yellow, that's the limiter saying, yo, chill out, and it's pushing the sound down. So you could like raise the volume so you're pushing your music into the limiter, but you don't. If you push too hard into the limiter, your music's not going to sound good. It's going to sound like this. It doesn't sound good. What I like to do is keep that at 0, hit play, and you see a little bit of yellow here and there. Maybe you could push it a little bit more. All right, so I raised it about 2 decibels, right? That's making the limiter work a tiny little bit, but you're basically making your song as loud as it can be without sounding distorted or muddy. You just want it to, I call it tickling the limiter. You want it to tickle the limiter. So I'm just tickling the limiter. Just tickle. See it? Every once in a while you'll see yellow. Not every time. And what that does is, like I said, it makes your song as loud as you can without basically nuking the entire project. Now, that final thing there I showed you about the limiter, that's like taking the place of me not being a mastering engineer. Because a mastering engineer would take that limiter off, and he would put all his own effects in there and different types of compressors and EQs and stuff to make it sound what he knows can be the best. And this is where you get that big-time pro sound, like in that mastering stage, between the mixing and the mastering. These guys who know how to do that, and is beyond the scope of this course, to get that like super professional, like radio-ready sound, I just don't know how to do it yet, to be honest. I know some. Putting a limiter on the end is my attempt to get a fraction of the way closer to where those guys are, because they use limiters, but they also use EQ and compressors and all this stuff. Like I'll show you, for example. Studio One has some built-in mastering stuff too. So you don't have to go hire a mastering engineer if you can't afford one right now. Just click on this arrow and you'll see a folder for mastering. Now these are all the different things that, quote, a mastering engineer might do if you hired one. Like, let's do beats. I have no idea what that is. Okay, it looks like a distortion and a compressor, and let's just hear how that sounds. That's not awesome to my ears. Let's see what other stuff we have under mastering. Boost the beat. Let's hear how that sounds. And that has an EQ, and that's what that EQ is doing. It's working hard. Compressor, it's doing something. They got a limiter at the very end, like I had. All right, let's see what other kind of mastering we got. Clarity. How about that one? Let's try that. I don't know why it's called clarity. It looks like it's kind of lowering the trebles. Not as clear. Interesting. Well, that one's called clarity. Fatten things up. Let's try that one. And you could hear how it sounds with the mastering effects on or off when you click this blue button next to post. That's off. Here's on. They have all kinds of stuff working in there. I actually think that sounds the best out of the three that we picked. So we can keep that on. And that's basically a replacement for having a mastering engineer. You know, you got to take things in steps and do the best that you can. Fortunately, these software companies, they put in preset chains of effects that you can use to kind of approximate having a mastering engineer and approximate having a mixing guy who can mix down your final track at the end. It'll get you a little bit of the way there. It's not going to be as good probably as a professional guy who's been doing it for 30, 40 years, or girl. But I wanted to show those to you because all we've talked about in the masterclass so far is making your instruments and your tracks and your vocals and putting effects and stuff on it. But we never talked about what happens at the end when you're ready to get your song out of the DAW. So let's just say that we like what we have here. We put this console shaper on, and there's a bunch of other ones you could do too. Try them all. I really encourage you, try them all and hear how they sound. And then we have post. And in post, that's where you put your mastering effects. So you go into mastering and try all these. See if any of them sound good. And then you might even go and say, I like the way this one sounds, but I wish the EQ was a little different. You can go in and click on EQ and make the change that you want. Like say you needed that way up there. But by the way, don't do that. It's way too much. So I'm going to hit Control Z. Or say you needed more bass. And by the way, don't do that. Control Z. You can adjust pieces of these effects in the chain. It's not like that chain is written in stone and you can't touch it. I know it's complicated. That's why it's nice to have these presets. So, moral of the story. You're done your song. All your tracks sound good to you. Now do a little bit of like playing in here in your mix effects and under mixing, if you like anything there, and then mastering at the end and see if your song sounds better to you, okay? If anything, I would chuck a limiter in at the end, like I said, so you just don't go into the red and be distorted. I mean, say you love the way your stuff sounds before adding any of these effects. You could just throw a limiter in, like I had in the beginning, and just make it so the sound doesn't go into the red and just tickle the limiter. Tickle the limiter, like I showed you earlier, and that'll get you there. That's actually what I do for most of my mastering. I just tickle the limiter. All right, but I like this preset, whichever one it was. And let's hear it again. Just make sure everything's good and not in the red. Very good, very good. All right, cool. So we like that. Now we have to get that out of the DAW. So how do we get it out of the DAW? Well, we do what's called a mix down. A mix down. If you go under Song and export the mix down, you could name the file. We'll call it Masterclass. Day 4. And it's cool. See, Personas is cool. They try to hook up to some of the software or the cloud companies like SoundCloud, and you could put it right to there. But what we're going to do is let's pretend we didn't see that publishing, and then you pick the file formats you want to export your song as. You know, some places only take MP3s. Like if you're doing podcasting and you have a long podcast, you want that in MP3 form because it's compressed, so the file size is much smaller than, say, a WAV, which is going to be pristine quality. If you do a 24-bit 44.1, just keep the default settings in for WAV. This is a very high-quality file. It's going to sound good. Watch, I'll export it out as a WAV. I'm going to turn off MP3. So we just have it as a WAV. And all these other ones, you can mess with. I'm not even sure about them. I never really use them. I basically use WAVs and MP3s. So we're just going to export this out as a WAV. 24-bit 44.1. That should be the default settings. Now, what is it going to export? That's what this one is for. And what I do 99% of the time is just keep this one at the top selected, which says between loop. And that just means, remember the loop regions we talked about earlier, how you make a loop region over your music? That's what this is, this blue line. And that's what's going to be exported. So anything outside of that blue line is not going to be exported. So make sure that blue line covers your whole song. That's what you have to do. And then I ignore all the rest of the stuff and ignore the rest of the stuff for this project. Don't worry about it right now. It's a little more advanced. We're just covering some basics. Like I said in the beginning of ever teaching you guys anything, this software is complicated and there's tons of stuff involved. We're only going to learn what we need to know one thing at a time. The positive thing about having complicated software, and I'm not saying just Studio One, all these DAWs are complicated if you really dig into them. The positive thing about having complicated software is you can grow into it. Whereas if it had too many limitations, you would grow out of it and then you'd have to learn new software. So I really like that it has all these features. I just don't expect you guys to know them all. So don't learn them right now. You don't need to. But just know that they're there when you do. And that's the way to do it. That's my philosophy. So ignore the rest of this stuff and hit OK. And song is going to now mix down, which happens typically pretty fast. And here it is. It's a WAV file on my hard drive now. So if I double click this, it might play unless my SoundCloud won't let it. Let's see if it plays. Now, it's not playing because Studio One is running. But on your software, I bet you it'll play. It just doesn't want to fight with my sound card. I have this set up just so the streaming and everything works. But basically, this is now a WAV file that almost any media player on your computer will play. If you double click it, it'll open Windows Media Player or Apple QuickTime or whatever you have that plays music files. It'll open it and it'll play it. And that's your song. This is your file. And we could do the same thing for an MP3. Let's go to Song, Export Mixdown, and then turn off WAV and put on MP3. And by the way, you can do these all at the same time if you want. But we just did them one at a time just for the sake of this example. And typically a 320 MP3 is good. It's the highest quality that the software can give you. And it's pretty close to a WAV as far as the human ear can tell. I bet if you really dug in, there's a lot of stuff taken out of the file or compressed, and the quality does go down. But to a human ear, I have a very hard time distinguishing between a 320 MP3 and a WAV, unless I'm really listening to it on really high quality equipment. So MP3 file, 320, hit OK. It does the same thing. It mixes down, tells you how long it takes, and there's the MP3. I think this is going to do the same thing. It's here. Yeah, it's not going to play. But it'll play for you. Don't worry. All right. So I basically told you how to finish things off in Studio One. The rest of the class was about making your song. This is about how to polish it with a little rag, which is called mixing and mastering. That's polishing. And then spitting it out of the program, and now you have two files on your computer. You have a WAV and an MP3. Some services that you upload to want WAVs, some want MP3, some want both. Doesn't matter. I showed you how to do it for both of them. Now what happens? Now what happens, Steve? That's the question. How do I take my song and where do I put it so I become famous? Well, if I had all the answers to that, I would tell them to you, but I don't have all of them. I'm not a famous artist yet, but I do know a lot of stuff that I could impart to you guys and things I could share that will help you. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. I was a guitar player back when I was a kid, and then I stopped playing and doing all music for almost 15, 20 years, and I just got back into it right now. I started a rock band with my friends, or a guy started a punk band, invited me to play, and now we're doing punk and like a punk alternative rock. And I'm really getting back into the whole thing and the websites and the promotion and being a band and playing clubs and stuff, and I'm loving it. But in the meantime, what I did do in those 15 years is going to be complete gold to you, because I learned internet marketing. And internet marketing is what I'm now going to use to promote my band, whereas people who never learned internet marketing are going to just basically throw their stuff up on Facebook and SoundCloud and Bandcamp and then wonder why they're not famous musicians. I'm giving you 15 years of marketing experience that I'm going to give you some tips so that you're going to be able to market your music, number one, different than everybody else, and number two, more effective than anybody else. Because get this, you're watching this because you bought my course. I promoted my course through internet marketing. How you got to where you are right now is proof that at least I know something about marketing. The fun thing is we're going to use what I did and I'm doing for Doll Junkie for you as an artist. The same techniques and methods apply, even though it's for a different topic. I was promoting Doll Junkie as an educational site, and you're going to promote yourself as an artist. So two different end results, but the same methods will work. So let's get into some basics. If you do just want to just upload your music somewhere and try to sell it, because maybe you already have like a 1 million person mailing list and you're just trying to get them something to buy, give them something to buy. You can upload your stuff, your all your songs and your album to Bandcamp. You know what? I'm going to back up for 1 second. I'm sorry. There's one other thing about Studio One that makes it unique that you guys can use, and I've never used it because I haven't made like a full album. Let's do this one thing. Check this out, and you're really going to like this. Say you have more than one song. Like I was just doing this for one song, like releasing a single. Say you have a whole album of songs that you wrote in Studio One. Studio One has a very nifty, and I know that word dates me, nifty thing built into the software. And I think you get to it by clicking this home plate button up here. Yes. You see where it says projects up here? That's for making full albums. So let's do that. Okay, there it is. No, happened twice. I could be wrong. I haven't done this in a while. Bear with me. This is something I don't know much about, but I wanted to show it to you because it's really neat. Okay, yeah, you could do it through that screen. So let's go with that. That part will obviously be edited out. If you go to New and you're done recording your song and mixing it, you can make what's called a project here under Master, like we talked about mastering, and releasing it to the public, master and release. So here's a project, and we're going to call it, let's just call it Masterclass. This is not the name of a song. This is the name of a project. It's different. A project is a bunch of songs that you are making now into an album. And there's this whole screen about how you can do that. Like we could import some files. Let's go into here. Let's just say these two songs are part of our album. So we have song 1 and we have song 2 that are part of the album. It'll make song 1 up here and song 2 here. Let's add more. Mix down songs. So let's go to songs. I don't know. Let's do a search for like a wave file. Okay, here's one called the Vault. Let's put that song in there. It looks like it's loading. Check, check. Taking a little bit of time, but it should go in there, hopefully. It's taking a while. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Oopsies. So you can basically upload all your songs or insert all your songs into this project window, and Studio One can organize them into a nice album so you can release it as an album. And you can add your mastering effects and all that stuff in here. Now, not going to get into it. I hardly use it, but it's a very cool thing if you wanted to dig in and really make your album very coherent and together and have a very consistent sound throughout the whole album. Load up all your songs into a project here and then do the mastering in this window instead of the window that I showed you before, instead of the project that I showed you before in the song. Just do them all from here and then release the whole album using this screen and this option. It's just a little bit of a perk, a little added on thing that I wanted to share with you, that the Studio One has the power to do this. And a lot of people rave about this, about how cool it is to have this project section. We're not going to get into it, but if you are releasing a full album, I encourage you to definitely check out project section, the project option. I'm going to close the window here because it is hung up. Oh man, we're going to have to go deep. We're going deep. I'm going in. Okay. Back to Bandcamp. So say you have a single or say you have an album, you can upload easily to a site called Bandcamp where people can easily buy your stuff. And that's basically what Bandcamp is. Now, I've actually never used this either, but you could see people have all their albums up there. Let's just look at this one, Holy Energy. You could buy a single track, it looks like, and you pay right from Bandcamp. So it's an easy way to collect money for your songs. It's not going to solve promoting your music, and I'm sure they have probably some stuff in there that they can add, like a little marketing package that they can add to help promote. And that's one way to just have a song, you export it out of Studio One, you have people that are just itching to buy it, upload it to Bandcamp, send all your friends the link, they could buy it, boom, you made some money. That's one way to do it. If you want to basically now get more professional and get more out there, there is a site called DistroKid, which is, and I've never used this either, but I do know I did a podcast with Christian from Envious Audio. You can check him out. He knows about this kind of stuff. Christian from enviousaudio.com. He's a mastering engineer, and he knows about distributing music through DistroKid and this type of thing. But I was reading it, and it basically says if you want to get on Spotify, this is an easy way for you to just sign up with DistroKid, upload your music to DistroKid, and then they get you on Spotify. So what is DistroKid? It's the easiest way for musicians to get into Spotify, for one. But it's basically a service for musicians that puts your music into online stores and streaming services like Spotify. So it doesn't just do Spotify. Then when people listen to your music, we send you money, basically royalties. So when you get streams on these services, apparently DistroKid sends you money for them. And check it out. Distribute cover songs legally. Get paid when other people use your music in YouTube. Unlimited backups. Instant Spotify verified checkmark. Manage your Apple Music page. So I'm not sure where they put all your music. I think it goes into Apple and all the other ones. Let's just see. Yeah, I'd have to dig in. But it looks like, okay, why should you use DistroKid? All of your music should be in stores. DistroKid is the only service that lets you upload unlimited music to stores for one low price. Which stores exactly, I'm not sure. But I do know that this is a service that's legit and people use, and I think it's very easy to use. And I think they might help you with some marketing too. Okay? Cool. Those are 2 sites. Of course, you could also upload to SoundCloud. Have your stuff up there. It's very easy for people to listen to it on SoundCloud. Now, what I'd like to... I'm sorry for the feedback or the distortion. What I'd like to talk to you about now is how I would promote the music if I were you. This is the new way I'm talking about. This is using internet marketing. What I first recommend, if you're serious about promoting yourself and you want to invest the time and gain the knowledge, which honestly, like I'm the type of person that if I want to know how to do something, I'd rather learn how to do it myself and then hire somebody. I'd rather hire somebody, but I'd like to know how to do it myself first. If you want to know the basic fundamentals and the rock solid, unwavering principles of how to promote and sell something online that I don't think is going to change anytime soon, you got to read this book, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. It's .comsecrets.com. And it's a $10 book. He basically says, pay $10 for the shipping. I'll send you the book. It's my favorite book on internet marketing ever. People have made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars through using the techniques in this book. I know that because there's an event he holds every year, and everybody who made $1 million using the technique on this book comes up on stage, and there's an endless amount of people that go on stage. It's really cool. So I really think this book is amazing. This will put you light years ahead of anybody else who is literally uploading their stuff to Bandcamp and then posting a link on Facebook. This basically makes you a master of how to sell stuff online. It's very easy to read. It's an enjoyable read, and you will now have the knowledge of how to do this stuff. I'm going to show you basically a little bit of a breakdown of what I would do based on the writings of this book to promote my stuff. I got a little Microsoft Paint here. So let's do this. If I were you and I exported a song out of Studio One and I wanted a lot of people to listen to it, and I wanted to get my band or me as a performer to have a big following, here's what I would do. First of all, I want you to notice how you came into my site. You saw a Facebook ad. You bought a cheap course. Some of you might have opted in and got something for free, like a free download. You got a cheap course, and then you upgraded to the Masterclass. What that basically is a series of steps called a funnel. If you're in the internet marketing space, you will know the term funnel. And you could literally think of it as you went through like a funnel and popped out at the bottom, like a legit plastic funnel. It's like somebody poured you in the top and you popped out at the bottom at the Masterclass. Here's what it looks like on paper or on screen. Now, some of you might be like, I don't want to be a marketing expert, Steve. Do you want to be rich? You want to be rich? Then just see what you think about this stuff, because this is what makes people rich. And you want to be successful and you want to have huge followings. This is the golden way. This is the stuff I really like. I enjoy the whole method of it. Okay, so what I basically did for my site, for Doll Junkie, is I ran a Facebook ad and I put in there something people like on Facebook, something I thought would get their attention. Learn how to make music easily on your computer. Anyone can do it. And it's true. Anyone can do it. When you saw that ad, you landed on a page that offered something cheap, like a $17, $27 course, whatever it was. So let's just say, let's put $1 sign. Cheap course. And then you got some emails and stuff from me. And then I would offer then, more expensive services which deliver more value. See, none of this is a scam or a ripoff. The higher price you charge for things, the more value you deliver. You guys are receiving one-on-one instruction with the ability to ask questions and a 4-hour course as compared to like a 1-hour course. So that's where the money comes in. Plus, you're going to get preferential treatment and perks in the future in the membership area. I'm going to take care of you guys. Okay. So I paid money to Facebook to have an ad. The ad drove people to a paid service, which some people bought, and then to another paid service, which some other people bought. And guess what I did with the money that came in from both of those things? I put it back into Facebook ads. Now, if you do this right, and people are buying your stuff because you know what to say on your web pages to get people to buy things, which is all in this book. It's all in the book. I've used some almost verbatim things out of this book to sell some of my products. If you do that, you will basically make enough money to buy more ads that make money, that buy more ads that make money, and buy more ads that make money. You get the idea of this loop? It's a machine that basically just creates customers for you. I'm talking about how with courses and Doll Junkie, we're going to relate it to artists in a second. Sorry. I had a lot of rice cakes before I came on this. So you see what we're building here? We're building like a perpetual motion machine that feeds itself. Here's the exciting thing about it. When I first built this, I was doing $10 a day in advertising, and I would get maybe one customer a day. Well, as time goes on, and this machine starts working, I see that I could put $20 a day in and make enough money to pay for the ads. So maybe I start putting 30, and I get 2 customers a day. So then I'll start spending $30 a day on ads and make money, enough money to, like, say I make $30 in profit. I put that back into the ads. Up to like maybe $100 a day I'm spending on ads now, and I'm making $100 from these courses, and that money's going back into ads. To $1,000 a day I'm spending on Facebook ads. I'm getting 100 new customers a day, and that money's going back into ads. To $10,000 a day I'm spending on Facebook ads. I'm getting 1,000 customers a day. Do you get the idea where this is going? You can literally build a machine that gets you thousands of listeners and followers and customers a day building a machine like this. This is called a sales funnel. I highly recommend you use it for your music. Now, here's how I would do it for music. All right. So you're an artist, right? You wrote a song. Here's how I would do it. I would make a Facebook ad. And I would put a little snippet of your song in there. That's a little waveform there of your song. That's your song. And you would run an ad. So you're paying a little bit of money, $10 a day, let's say, to run that ad. That's a $. And that ad goes to a page where you say, get the full song. See how it's a little fuller? That's the full song. In exchange for your name and email. So you get the song for free. You just give me your name and your email, and you'll get the song for free. So maybe half the people that click on your ad fill out that form, and they get the full song for free. They obviously like the song because the ad basically said, here's a snippet of this song. Click on this ad to get the whole song for free. So you give them a little snippet. They like what they're hearing. They want the whole song now. So you say, click on the ad. I'll give you the song for free. So when they get to this next page, you give them the song for free, but you are exchanging something. You're getting their name and email address. Getting somebody's name and email address, even in 2022 when we're recording this, is still the most valuable thing you can do on the internet. When you gather name and email address, that person now belongs to you and your list, and you can promote to them for the rest of your life. Okay? That's very valuable. So you put in some money here, $10, and let's say you get 10 names on your email list with those $10. So every name cost you about $1. You have 10 names now. This is a very important asset. These are now 10 people that you have and you could send things to that are interested in your kind of music. That's worth $10 any day of the year. They got a free song. You got their name and email address. You know that person likes your kind of music. You spent $10. You now have 10, not necessarily fans. You just have 10 leads, 10 people that kind of like your music. Okay? But here's the fun part. After you get their name and email address, on the very next second, on the very next page, you say, great. Check your email for the song. So there's the song. So you check your email in 10 minutes for the song. We just sent it to you. And then you say something like, get our EP for $5 right now for a limited time. It's usually $25 or $15 or something like that. And your EP is like 5 songs. So you basically sell them right on the next page after they gave you their email and they got the one song. You say, cool, we delivered your song, but look, there's this one-time offer. You're not going to see this ever again. We would love for you to buy if you like that song, you're going to love the EP. So we just released our EP for a select few people. We're offering it at a crazy price. And since you're one of the early adopters and you like that other song or whatever, however you want to say it, offer them the EP that you think they'll like for $5. It's a great deal. They're getting your music, which you want to share with the world. And they're happy because they get 5 more songs from you because they liked one song. Some people are going to take you up on that. Not everybody. And then you do one final thing at the end. And you know, guys, all of this is open for like change, but this is how I would do it. This is how I'm telling you how I would do it. As soon as they buy the EP, right? For the people that do buy the EP, you say, great. Look, our fan club gets all of these special privileges. Like when we come into your town, we're going to have you come up on stage with us and sing our song with us or something like that. You offer them something to be in the fan club. And maybe you charge whatever you want. Maybe $49 for the year or $10 a month. That part I didn't think through yet. But let's just say $49 for something. It could be $49 for the year. Let's just say that. Some people are going to take you up on that. Not everybody. But what you basically did is build a funnel where you're putting people in the top. These are little people. All these little dots. All these little people are out here just wandering the streets, looking at their phones, on Instagram. Because, by the way, when you do a Facebook ad, it goes on Instagram too, just so you know. And they're all just hanging out here, la, la, la. And they see your ad and you get their attention, and then you start sending them down the funnel. Now, here's in like people that are going to take you up on your free song, and you're going to get their email. It's like 10 people. And then some of them, let's just say this many, are going to buy your EP. And then some of them, maybe 2, are going to take you up on the fan club. All right? And then know what you do with that money? You don't go out and buy a Lambo, okay? You take that money now and you send it back into your ads. So where you are now spending $10 a day, you just made $55. So maybe you can up this to now $20 a day and see how that goes. And then as more people come in and you see that your funnel's working, you spend $30 a day, and then $40 a day, and then $50 a day, and then $1,000 a day, and then $10,000 a day. And you are literally getting thousands of fans onto your mailing list every day, okay? Because everybody who hits this point is getting onto your mailing list. The only reason these exist, these ones at the end, is not necessarily to make you a millionaire at this point. It's to pay for more ads so you can put more people into your funnel. That's the trick. The money you make from your courses goes into more advertising, which makes more people, not more courses, into your fan club and your songs, your EP. The more people that buy that means more money you could spend on ads, which means more people in your fan club, which means more money you could spend on ads, which means more people in your fan club. And if you do this right, you can build a following faster than anything that has ever existed on planet Earth. You don't need a record company. You don't need a label. You need to know how to build a funnel. And it's all in that book. You need $10. You just need $10. You buy that book and you do what it says. You could build this funnel, which basically will make you the biggest audience and the fastest amount of time. Because there's billions of people on Facebook and Instagram. Billions. And you're going to be able to put your message in front of their face. That's how I would do it. And that's how I'm going to do it with my band, Area 52. That's the name of my band. We just formed last year, so we're building things up. But I know marketing and I know funnels. And you could watch me, because as I build Doll Junkie, I'm going to keep telling you guys about Area 52. And maybe I'll release a course on just promotion in this way. Now, I hope you guys really got this, what I'm saying here at the end, because it's different, but it's revolutionary, and nobody's doing this. If you want to build yourself as an artist, learn how to make a funnel, and then absolutely crush it. Now, the final thing I want to talk to you about is, see all these lines here? These are people that are coming on your mailing list. If you're spending $1,000 a day on ads, maybe you're getting 500 people a day onto your mailing list. That's 500 people a day that liked one of your songs and wanted to get it for free. If you keep building this list, you can email these fans every day, every week, every month, however you want to do it. I recommend more than less. And then you've built this community. You find out what they want. You ask them, guys, what do you think our next song should be like? What is your favorite thing about the stuff we have going on now? And that list of thousands and thousands now, because you're putting all this money into ads, your list becomes bigger into thousands. So say your 10,000 person list now is this asset that you have that no YouTuber has, no Instagram influencer has, nobody who's selling on Amazon has. This is how you make money. When you become popular as a band, when you sell on Amazon, you don't know who your customers are. Amazon, you just made a customer for Amazon. When you go on YouTube and you make money from ads on YouTube and you become a YouTube celebrity, you don't know one email address of your fans. YouTube does. They don't belong to you. When you go on Instagram and you become an influencer on Instagram, you don't know the email address of any of the people that are following you. You could have 1 million followers. All Instagram has to do one day is go into the room and flip the little switch on your account and turn it off, and you're done. If you do things this way with funnels and you capture your own email addresses, they're yours. That's your list. That's your business. That's how you build a business. That's how you build a following. And that's how you would crush it as a musician. Now, it remains to be seen. I'm going to let you know how my journey goes. Like I said, I've done this in the past for other things. I've never done it for a band, but that's what I'm going to do. And I think it's going to work. So I'm super happy to explain funnels to you guys. I hope you got it, because this stuff's gold. 99%, even more, of the population don't know. They don't know what happens, how people make money online. They think they just throw something up there and people buy it like crazy. It doesn't happen like that unless you're really lucky. So if you want to build your audience fast, check out funnels. Send me emails too. Like, let me know how confusing this was for you guys or if you liked it, because this to me is pure gold about how to succeed online. All right, I'm out of breath. That's all I'm going to do today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you at the next one. Oh, by the way, this is the last lesson of the masterclass. So, last lesson of the masterclass. So, that's week 4. What I recommend everybody does, because at this point, this was the first time the masterclass was ever delivered. I'm going to deliver all the lessons again in a new unit of time starting next week, and you are absolutely invited because you bought this one. Consider yourselves that you are on like a pilot version of the masterclass, and it's going to get better every time. So if you want to refresh yourself or learn some new stuff, keep coming to the masterclass, and they're going to keep getting better. I really appreciate you guys buying the masterclass. I hope I delivered the value you were looking for. If not, keep coming to classes, and I guarantee I will deliver what I promise. All right, see ya. Bye.